this is Georgia with Georgia's Crafty Creations, and today we're going to be doing a little project for the 4th of July, and it's this little tabletop lantern you could use on your picnic table, mantle, just somewhere where you want a little light to go. Now to do this project, we're going to be using Melody Lane Designs digital paper, and we're going to be using her Connor collection, which is a Patriotic collection. And for this project, what I used, I printed out 4 pieces of her paper. I did 2 pieces on a heavier textured cardstock, which is going to be on the outside of my lantern. And then I also printed 2 pieces on just a lightweight white cardstock that I want to put on the inside as a liner, because it just makes it prettier if the inside is finished on this. And then the other thing I used is I got printable transparency sheets, which I got from Amazon. I'll put the link down below. I'll also put the link for Melody's paper down below. But I printed 2 sheets on the transparency, and this is actually going to become the panels in your lantern. So I'm going to get everything cut out. I made this in Cricut Design Space, and I'll share the file for that below also. I'm going to get this cut out and be back, and we'll show you how to put it together. Okay, we've got all our pieces cut and we're ready to go. We have 2 pieces cut from the heavy white cardstock that we printed, which is the textured. And then I also cut 2 identical pieces out of the lightweight cardstock. Now out of the lightweight, you want to cut those on mirror image with your Cricut. If you don't want to switch to mirror image and just pick to print 2 copies at once, what you can do with your lighter cardstock is you can flip it over and put the printed side down, and then you will get a mirror image also. So you can either do it that way, or you can change the cut preference to mirror image. And we're going to set those 2 aside right now. We're going to take our 2 heavy cardstock, which this is going to be the outer part of our lantern. And the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to just take one of the tabs where you fold at, where you're going to glue together. You're going to take one of those and fold it in. You have to be careful on this lower part because there's a delicate piece there. But once you do that, you want to burnish the fold so it's nice and crisp. Burnish that really well. Just be careful down here where it's delicate that you don't tear that, or if they don't fold in or something. And once you do that, you're going to open it up. And the first thing we want to do is we're going to put our 2 pieces together. Like this. And I like to use double-sided tape just because it goes quicker than using glue. And I just like the way it holds. So I'm going to take that little piece off there. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to take and I'm going to put double-sided tape onto here. Take it all the way down. Clear to the foot, and you can just tear it off. And then I'm going to take this apart. Take the tape coating off of it. And then I like to start lining up down at my foot just because I want to make sure it's lined up correctly. So you just take and get that lined up. Hold this piece up so it doesn't fall down. Get the foot where you want it. And that looks a little bit off there. We're going to try that one more time. There we go. Once you get that piece on, you can just take this and go straight up and just put it together. Get that all lined up. Now the next step you're going to do before you do any of your fold marks, we're going to put our panels in. Now this is the transparency that I printed, and it has a rough side that you print it on and then a smooth side. I like to put the rough side to where it's going to be to the outside of my lantern because there's just more color on it and it looks better. So I'm going to line these up the way I want them. And the way I do this is I use just a Scotch tape runner, and I do one at a time. I just put a little tape at each place where it's going to fit in. A little bit across the middle. And then I'll take my first panel, get it lined, and you don't want to go across your fold line. So make sure when you put it on, you don't go across that line. You get that lined up where I want it. And then what I do, so I don't have any air or wrinkles in it, I'll take my brayer and get this lower part put where I want it, and then I will smooth it up with the brayer, because that way if there's any air bubbles, it will take them out and it will smooth, and then it will lay flat when you go to fold it. I just want to make sure I didn't get over my fold line, which I think I did. Yep, I went a little bit over on that one, so I use repositional tape so I can do this. I'm going to go ahead and peel that up. I'm going to go ahead and fold my crease there just a little so I know where it's at. So we're going to take this again, lay it down. There we go. Now it's going where I want it to. I'm going to take my brayer then and go ahead and smooth it out. And that's all in. So we go to the next one. Once again, I see where my line is. I'm going to go ahead and get some tape put on. Get the next piece, get it lined up. And get it on. And then we're going to do the same. I'm going to repeat this with all 4 panels. And actually, you can go ahead and put your glue on for all of them. That way you just have to put it on. Get my 3rd panel. And my last one. And it doesn't matter if you have glue left over, because that's going to be covered up. Now before we go on, we're going to go ahead and do our creases for this one. I'm going to burnish that really well. And then also as you fold, sometimes it pops apart. So what I'll do is I'll just take my brayer and run it along each crease to make sure that just everything is glued well together. Then we'll go to the middle. And that one actually is already folded pretty good. Do the same thing there. And then we'll go to our other side. I'm not going to go all the way with it because we're going to want to glue our inside in before we actually fold it to glue it. Let's go ahead and find that. Put that one down a little bit more. Okay, the next thing we're going to want to do, we're going to take our 2 inside pieces. I'm going to take a piece of double-sided tape. I'm going to fold this first so I know where I want my tape at. There we go. I'm going to put a piece of double-sided tape on this one. And we're going to put the two pieces together. Once again, I'm going to line up down at my leg first. And get that all put together. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and just lightly crease where the fold marks are. I don't want to go heavy with them yet because I'm going to put them to the inside of the other piece. It's just to kind of give me an idea where they are. Okay, so we're going to take our outside piece of our lantern. We're going to lay that out like that. And once again, I like to use double-sided tape. And I'm going to put it in several different spots. Well, I'm going to put the double-sided in some spots, and then we're going to use the tape runner for other spots just to fill in and give more of a adhesive to hold it together. So we're going to do it down the bottom. We're going to put one at the top. Now you can use glue for this too, but when you use glue, you just kind of have to hold it. I just find the tape quicker and easier for me. And then we're going to go down each side with it. And then that's going to be the only places we put this tape. Now I'm going to take in with my tape runner, and I'm going to fill in with glue in the middle, and I am going to go over my transparency too, and some at the bottom of each panel. And then I'm going to put some down on the feet. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to pull the tape off of one side, the tape covering. And then I'm going to start the ones at the bottom, but I'm not going to pull those all the way out. I'm just going to take it a little ways and fold it over. Because you definitely want to make sure and get this lined up. Okay, so what I'm going to do with my inner part, I'm going to kind of take and fold it out so that it doesn't all hit down. And I'm going to start at this end, and I'm going to get my foot lined up first. And once I get my foot lined up, I'm going to take and line up the side, get it where I want it, and then I'm going to just go a little ways with it. And once you get it started, it just naturally falls into place. You just have to make sure and get this first part lined up, and then the rest of it will line up. So I'm going to go a little ways at a time. I'm going to pull this down. Pull that one. And then I'm going to come up to the next foot. Make sure I have my foot lined up. If your feet line up, everything else comes into place. And before I go any further, I'm just going to smooth this down again with my brayer. And then we're going to come on over to this. We're going to do the next part. And just continue down until we get to the end. And I'm just trying to make sure all my little filigree pieces are lining up. And all my feet. And lining them up the best I can. That one I got a little bit off, but we're going to go with it. It's on the inside, so if it's a little off, as long as it's not sticking out in front of your panels, you'll be okay. So get that edge down. That one's down. And we're going to do that one. And then I'm just going to run my brayer on them. And then this end over here, I need to go in here and pull my tape cover off. And if all else fails, use what you should be using to begin with. There we go. And we're going to tape that down. Make sure my ends line up good. So there we have it. Set that aside. I'm going to go ahead and run my brayer across it. I got off a little bit on the bottom, but it's all good. If you get off too much, you can take a pair of scissors, like up here at the top, and just trim it back. To me, there's no accidents in crafting. If you do something that comes a little off, just trim it off. It's not going to hurt it. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and run the brayer across the bottom here too. Okay, now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to get our folds. Since we folded the front already, they should be pretty well lined up. So I'm going to take my bone folder. I'm going to make sure and get these creased really well. The middle one's pretty good. Then we have our last one. So there we have it all together. Now the last thing you're going to do on this part is you're going to take and fold over the side tab. And once again, you're wanting a real crisp fold. So take it and run your bone folder on it to give it that nice crisp fold. Like that. And then I'm going to take a piece of double-sided tape and run it down that tab. Smooth that down. And we're going to take and pull that off. And I have a little tape up there. We're just going to fold that under. Then you're going to bring your side around. Go ahead and fold this back down. And you're going to want to line up your foot again with this side. That looks pretty good. You want to make sure and get your edges lined up. You don't want it to overhang and you don't want it back in. And the good thing with this is you can put your hand down inside of it and you can smooth, take and press on your seam and get it all smoothed down. So there is the lantern portion. Now you want something to put your tea candle on because we'll put a battery tea candle in this. So I just made a little support for it. I'm going to show you how to do. All I did is I made a square and this has score lines on it. You want to fold in all of these score lines. Just start them first and then you can go back and get a good crisp fold on them. And just because I like things with a finished look, this is going to set in your lantern like this. This is the upper part, and it'd be white here. But what I did is I just cut another square out of the paper that we're just going to tape down to the center there. So let's get that. Your tea light, battery tea light, is not heavy, so you don't need anything super strong, but I did use the heavier cardstock for this piece. We're going to put that down. Then once again, I'm going to take double-sided tape and put on all 4 of these tabs. Okay, we have our double-sided tape on, so we're going to take, and we're going to just start each one of these about halfway down. And I'm going to fold it over. And you're going to make sure to fold these toward the bottom, otherwise you won't be able to get to the tabs if they're up inside. Okay, so I'm going to take my first tab, and I'm going to go ahead and just take the tape all the way off the first one, because the first one I want to get lined up really good. And what you want to do is you want to line up the bottom of this with the bottom of your lantern. So I'm going to get this first one put in. Get it lined up where I want it, which is lined up right with the bottom edge of the lantern. I'm going to make sure that's nice and tight. And then I'm going to pull the tab off the opposite side. We're going to do it next. I'm going to go ahead and fold this all the way up in. And then you can take your hand down through the inside of it and you can pull this up and get it to where you want it lined up with the bottom of this. And that looks pretty good right there. I'm going to do that one. Then I'm going to come to this side, get it up in there, pull the paper off. Once you get a couple sides done, this too just falls right into place. Then I'm going to do the last one, pull that down, pull it up in, line it up, and smooth it. And then you can take your hand on the inside and press down on all of those seams so they're nice and tight. And then you're going to pick out whichever side of your lantern you like the best for your front. And I think I like this side. But what I did, I have a Stampin' Up! Stamp set called Words of Courage. And I just took a piece of the leftover paper and stamped the word freedom on, and then layered it with a piece of the transparency and a piece of the cardstock. And I just have a little piece of foam tape on the back, and I'm just going to take that and put it right at the top of my lantern. So there you have it. It's just a little cute decoration, and you can size this to different sizes. I made it smaller originally, and I just like it bigger. The only thing, when I made it bigger, I had to make it into 2 pieces rather than just one, because it wouldn't all fit on one sheet of paper. So I hope you guys like this. If you like the paper, I'll leave the link below where you can go and purchase the paper. It's the Connor set from Melody Lane Designs. She has wonderful digital paper. And I'll leave a link too to where you can find the printable transparencies. You can also use printable acetate if you have that. Either one would work just as well. So y'all have a nice 4th of July, and until next time, God bless.